Na 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 na. Batwoman. Oh wait, no. See, she hasn't stolen the old song because she has her own. You know, the one in the trailer with "I'm a woman." Yeah, because in case you forget, you forget the actual title of the show. You know, you needed to point that out. So, yeah, Batwoman's coming, and I just got nothing better to do, so I figured I'd do a video on this Bounding in the Comics, basically just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score, which it's Rotten Tomatoes, and well, what's that worth? But so they had 5 critics, and it's a 60% fresh rating here, so it's on the way to a huge success. But yeah. Yeah, so with Rotten Tomatoes not having much of a reputation, not that much, but it's the first inkling of someone who's actually seen the pilot for the show, and so I guess we'll go through some of the, well, all of them. It's only 5. So Alex Mady at Joe Blow's Movie Emporium says Batwoman has a lot of potential, but this pilot feels too torn. When the show is not trying too hard, it works decently. But when it forces itself to deliver messages, it falls apart. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that this is probably the most accurate statement on the show, because it seems very likely that's what it'll be. As for the potential, I don't know, because I haven't seen it. All I've seen in these god-awful trailers that have actually hurt the show in a lot of ways, unless you want to take what what's his name, Dave Cullen, was saying, that, well, the show might be so bad that it's good as a comedy. And he may be onto something there, because it's so over the top with this crap that it might work that way. But we'll just have to see. As for the rest here, Charles Ridgely at comicbook.com, thanks to a poorly conceived supporting cast and a serious lack of identity, which, don't worry, she'll just steal it from Batman. The Batwoman pilot isn't all that great, especially if you're not a mega fan of the already existing Arrowverse franchise. Well, yeah, a lot of them depend on what's come before, and that's just, you know, the situation for new shows and this sort of thing. But yeah, the supporting cast, you don't get a whole lot in the trailers about them. It's just the terrible female Joker character. She's based on the Alice character, if you've read the comics, but doesn't come across as that character at all. So yeah, pretty lackluster. And that's pretty bad. But I gotta say, Ruby Rose's performance that I did see in the crossover was not that great either. Now, it was brief, it was very short, but oof, pretty bad. So if there's not even a great cast or anything, then it's Delia Harrington of Den and Geek gives it a fresh rating. A stylish entry into the Arrowverse, one that is worthy of both the Bat family and the impressive DC TV lineage. Well, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It's just kind of complimenting the Arrowverse and says it's stylish. Well, it's going to have a style one way or another. So, pretty useless there, but that's one of the fresh ones. Susanna Polo of Screen Rant gives the film a fresh rating. She writes, "If I have a favorite thing about it, it's that the show understands that the best Batwoman stories are about integrity. And who can and can't afford to have..." Again, it's kind of a nothing thing, and it's only one show, so I don't know. Is she referring to the comic book stories or what? But so it's not really giving you any real... I mean, it's short little sentences here, but it's like the first one. Is going through it. He says, well, it's got potential. It describes the show. It's too concerned with its messages. And that's a lot of problems for shows these days, where it takes up all the room out of development of story and character and plot and so forth. And you just depend completely on some sort of message. And anyone who criticizes it is obviously against whatever the message is. And that's just lazy. And that's what I fear is going to happen here for Batwoman, because I see no sign that it won't. Because if that's your trailers, if that's what you want it to be. So Jesse Shadeen here at IGN says, well, while the new series will have little trouble filling the void left by Arrow, I think it will. It may face a more difficult battle when it comes to establishing its own identity. Well, there again, don't worry. She'll just steal from Batman. And that's pretty much it. And that's all you go. So, I'm just going to say that the first one here is probably more accurate than the rest. And the thing about potential is I've seen a lot of shows that do show that. I went through this with Black Lightning, which did show a lot of potential in it. But the messaging was terrible. I mean, here you had a guy who was more worried about the police than he was about dealing with a man who tried to murder his daughters. I mean, right in front of him. I mean, it was just a disgusting scene. How could you do that? And this is supposed to be your hero character. Well, the message dominated everything, and it didn't matter what made sense and what logic and what plot, and none of it mattered. And that's a huge problem for a lot of this stuff. And so Batwoman looks to be even worse than that, because, Black Lightning, I don't recall it having a lot of promos or trailers that emphasize that sort of thing. But here, Batwoman right out, is this is all it is. It's misandry, and men are terrible, and women can only be powerful when they become men, apparently, or take everything a man is. His clothes, his property, his haircut, whatever. I don't know. So that's empowerment of women. It's quite an insult to them. So, not a great game plan for the show. And you would think there would be one or more trailers that shows some other aspect of it by now, but there aren't any. So have to conclude that, yeah, that's all there is to Batwoman. So there you are from a very useless review site, Rotten Tomatoes. But at the very least, these people have seen the show already. And based on what they've said, it doesn't look good. And that's too bad. Some people didn't like the costume, but I think it looks pretty good. And there were a few brief scenes in the crossover where it looked really great. And they actually had her using more gadgets than this business of a short, toothpick-limbed supermodel looking woman taking on these big, bulky 300-pound, muscle men. That's ridiculous. Batwoman has no powers. And that's just stupid. But in the crossover, she was actually utilizing all the little bat gadgets and stuff. That would be a smarter way of handling it. But now she's going to be, beating down Navy SEALs with her toothpick limbs. Yeah. But that's being decent and respectful to female characters these days. No reality whatsoever. And forcing them into a man's clothes. All right. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you.